This thing's just built on a hill, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That must be the Harry Potter thing over there, Roy.
Yeah. Oh, yep. The castle.
We do not have a height requirement for the next 2 hours. There are non-restroom stops during the tour. If you'd like to.
And for those of you who have selfie sticks for your safety and the safety of those around you, reduce them to their shortest length. All right, we just turned down our Universal movie timeline. These original movie posters on the right side of the tram, just a few examples of the more than 8,000 films we've made here in the last century. In 1912, our founder Carl Laemmle brought his movie company west and bought this land, which at the time was a chicken ranch, because he wanted to make movies that make people laugh and cry and sit on the edge of their seat. A few years later, he invited the public into the studio to watch the silent movies being made, and guests could cheer for the heroes and boo the villains and even walk out with a couple dozen eggs. But with the invention of sound and the need for quiet on the set, that walking tour ended. Over here on your right, folks, is Fire Station 51, named after the fire station that classic series Emergency was shot here in the 1970s. Then in the summer of '64, this tram tour was born. We started with 2 guides, 2 drivers, and 1 ticket seller working out of a trailer on Lancashire Boulevard. Today we're 7 parks, entertaining millions of guests every year. Over here on your left is our latest attraction, the Fast and the Furious Hollywood Drift roller coaster. That opens next year. But what's really special about this park is that this one is the only one that's attached to a working movie studio, and that's where we're headed. We're about to cross into our front lot, which houses our 36 sound stages. In these buildings, we can create any environment a story demands. And a great example is coming up on your left, Soundstage 12. It's the largest on our lot, where we've created some of the biggest sets, some of the biggest moments in movie history. Frankenstein's Laboratory, Dracula's Castle,
I am Dracula.
the Scarface Mansion, the Clock Tower from Back to the Future, the Visitor Center from Jurassic Park, the 405 freeway in Whoville, and the best party John Favreau's ever been to. So here's what the inside of an empty sound stage looks like, folks. And about 75% of all of the filming we do here at Universal is done in these sound stages we're driving past. Recently working in Stage 11 over here on the left. Season 4 of Hacks, starring this year's Golden Globe winner for Best Actress. Also working in these stages recently, Season 2 of Ted, and you can peek inside and have a look at some of the sets from the backside. Hey there! See, we're all friends here in Hollywood, folks. Prince of Bel-Air with a dramatic spin. That's streamable on Peacock. Stars Shabari Banks and Ollie Shulliton. Ever since... Now stage 14 over here on your left is where Ron Howard and company built Mission Control for Apollo 13, starring Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon, Gary Sinise. Each one of these sound stages has a little red light beside the door. We call it a wigwag when it's red or when it's flashing. It's how I know the cameras are rolling. More importantly, it's how I know they're recording sound, which puts us in one of those quiet zones we were talking about, and I go off the microphone for a bit, which is pretty darn good, but we're pretty darn close. And you don't want my voice in the background of your favorite television show, even though I think it'd be cool, and so would my mom. Currently working in 16 and 17 over here on the right, the series Loop, starring Maya Rudolph. Now, if you were goofy enough to go through that door when the red light was on, you'd find yourself in a little room with another door and another red light. That's kind of the sound department's last line of defense. Beyond that door is the actual soundstage. And if you're goofy enough to go through that door when the red light is on, well, then the sound department comes after you, and you'll never hear them coming. Nobody can sneak up on you like the sound department folks. But don't they look a little bit more like warehouses than stages? The term stage comes from the large outdoor platforms that were built during the silent film era to accommodate sets that couldn't be. Film stages were constructed, they had glass ceilings to let the sunlight in because at the time, electrical lighting wasn't powerful enough to light a movie. Now here we are cruising around an electric tram. Come a long way. But hey, take a look to your left. Is that? Well, it is. It's Ted, our first celebrity sighting. And looks like he's celebrating. Our second celebrity sighting. Ted's happy because he's got his own television show on Peacock. This is the legendary director Alfred Hitchcock. That's his profile painted next to the front door. Also on your left, stages 25 and 26 are two of our newest. Working in 25, Lopez versus Lopez from creator Mayan Lopez. Also starring her father George, kind of a family affair. And in 26, St. Denis Medical, but everything they need to produce those shows is housed in that building. From sound stages to the wardrobe department, hair, makeup. Even the writer's room is in the second floor. All right, folks, we're traveling to another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Metropolitan Zone. They're actually made out of foam rubber and fiberglass over metal and wood frames. We call them facades. Over here on your right, these hospital facades are for St. Denis Medical. And that's Brownstone Street over there, where Paul Newman and Robert Redford flopped in the Academy Award-winning film The Sting, where Mindy Kaling lived on the Mindy Project, and where Jim Carrey lived in Bruce Almighty. But I'm sure many of you are going to recognize the area we're pulling into now. I'd like to welcome you all to Courthouse Square, otherwise known as Hill Valley, from Back to the Future, starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd. This facade on the left is the clock tower, where Doc Brown harnessed the bolts of lightning that sent Marty McFly back to the future.
It was actually the back lot of the Courthouse Square that inspired the entire climax to Back to the Future.
I had scenes up at the clock tower on that ledge. There was a ledge about that wide, and I was standing inside looking at the ledge, and I already had vertigo. I just thought there's no way in the world, no way I'm going to stand on that. I was up there for quite a while. Of course, I had a cable.
Now, currently, Courthouse Square is doubling as Framingham, Massachusetts for the series Ted. In fact, the clock tower is actually Johnny's high school on Ted. So, the cinematic universes are colliding, folks. The multiverse is upon us. We're going to leave the multiverse behind. Head across New York Street. The big city, the Big Apple. Comes complete with its own Park Terrace Hotel, its own theater district, and its own Macy's. Recently shot on this street, American Ninja Warrior. But we can't talk about New York without somebody who knows the town. So, once again, here's Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York! I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey! I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool, guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Check out this blue glass facade down there on the right on New York Street. That's really cool. That's been designed so you can shoot towards it without getting the reflection of the camera in the glass. Remember, angle of incidence equals angle of reflection. Anytime you point a camera at somebody if there's glass or a mirror, you might end up with a shot. We call that a blue. Just here, there's a great chase up and down the street. There's barefoot chasing a taxi cab, running on the top of cars. He tackles the cab. We're gonna wave goodbye to the faux concrete jungle of our metro sets for the moment and say hello to the prehistoric jungle of Skull Island. Everybody ready for a little excitement? Here's King Kong director Peter Jackson to lead the way.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker.
Damien.
I like films that
Look at the
just
train.
take you away from your real life and
The
scoop
train's
you up
up
in
there.
adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship,
Look, right
you're
there.
sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and
Okay.
creatures from prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island. And it's great to have created this 3D.
All right, folks, you heard the man. Let's get those 3D glasses on. Please remain seated. Secure your belongings and hold on tight. Next stop is Skull Island. Details in the previous floors, and that gives the illusion these structures are taller than they actually are, especially through the camera lens, which kind of intensifies whatever you pointed at. Bonus points for anyone who can tell me on the left. You come within 1,000, I'll give you the points. But remember, we cheat, because there aren't any bricks in that wall. But there is a pretty spectacular spray paint mural over here on the right, commemorating our classic monster movies. This is a great story. This artist, Tristan Hatton, started out here in LA, tagging dumpsters and buildings, and developed some incredible talent. Now he's worked all over the world.
Okay, let's be there.
One guy, a bunch of spray paint cannons, and a lift to get him up there.
Oh.
Director, the crew, but most importantly, the camera to remain dry while they shoot the action through those hatches on the side. Back over here on your left in stages 30 and 31, we're working on a brand new season of The Voice. Coaches Michael Bublé, Adam Levine, John Legend, and Kelsey Ballerini. Here's Kelsey and John.
Oh, hey there, Studio Tour. I'm Kelsey Ballerini.
And I'm John Legend. Did you know that the Universal Backlot is home to The Voice?
It is, that's right. They taped right here on stage 31. And don't miss our incredible season every Monday and Tuesday.
Let's talk about the new voice coaches. Even the new voice coaches. We missed you, man. Go on.
I'm going to put these boys in their place.
So that's how it's going to be.
The Voice, Monday and Tuesday on NBC. And right next door in stages 32 and 33, the comedy Happiest Place starring Reba McEntire. Also on your left in that tranquil lagoon, that's the original Black Lagoon from the cult classic Creature from the Black Lagoon. Celebrated its 70th anniversary. Who played the creature in the underwater sequences trained himself to hold his breath for up to 5 minutes at a time. The logic being that if the creature breathed through its gills, there shouldn't be air bubbles ascending to the surface for any kind of scuba, but 5 minutes? Try holding your breath for 1 minute. But don't do it now, guys. Your bodies will crumble as your minds collapse into madness. But hey, while we're on the subject of creature features, just up ahead of us is Little Europe. It's where we invented the monster movie. We call these sets Little Europe because they can look like many of the cities in Europe. They double as the afterlife for The Good Place, starring Kristen Bell and Ted Danson.
You, Eleanor Shellstrom, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I have never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here.
All right, this yogurt shop in the background is actually right up ahead of us. We're kind of, I guess we're right where the camera might be. I know it doesn't say yogurt in the facade anymore, but that is the yogurt shop. You can see where the road splits off on either side. And I was in there during production. I've seen the yogurt. They had a flavor called One-Handed Football Catch. Now, there's a flavor in tune with the whole Good Place vibe. You're never going to find that going to the bad place.
I can't risk going to the bad place.
Well, maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
Now, what we love about these sets is that in the daytime they look like the afterlife from A Good Place, but at night they look more like the kind of place Frankenstein would be roaming around. And the truth of it is they're both. It just depends on how they're lit. This is the Court of Miracles over here on the right. Perfect example, looking very pleasant and quaint. Compliments of The Good Place, but that wasn't always so. The Court of Miracles is where many of the famous monsters got their start. It got its name from the Parisian square in the novel The Hunchback of Notre Dame, made into a movie in 1923, over 100 years ago. And that's what kicked off the monster movie craze.
Maybe you know what we think of monsters.
Dracula, Frankenstein,
Bride of Frankenstein. The Mummy.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera. Classic films, but just brilliantly made. That Frankenstein image, flathead, bulbs, it's one of the great icons of the world. That to me was like the essence of the universal horror film. And I was just mesmerized by these movies. Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney.
I remember
Have a look around. Now, this is a hot set, folks, which means they've already shot scenes. So please remain seated, secure your belongings, and hold on tight. Don't touch anything. If you were to move a chair, when the shots were edited together, it would look like the chair magically moved across the room. That would mess with the continuity and mess with our minds as well. Now, folks, when we come out of here, we're going to be in that quiet zone I was mentioning, so I'm going to have to go off the microphone for a bit. This is supposed to be a subway station in San Francisco, but it could really be anywhere. All you'd have to do is change the signs. Depending on how tight the shots are, you might want to change the map of the subway, get rid of the pictures of the Coit Tower. Once again, hold on. That sounds like a little more than a tremor.
Okay, sweetheart. It's over. Jaws.
It's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
And also Jaws is animatronic.
I know, it's very cheesy.
But I want to know how they make it.
Where's the music?
It's not as fancy as what you see, buddy.
But I want to know how they make it.
Yeah. Here it comes. Yep, that's real. Oh, there he is. Hey, Jaws. How's it going? See, it's not cheesy. That was Jaws. Oh my God.
It is resetting.
Yep, it is.
It is resetting.
It is resetting. Yep, it is, buddy. It's going back. You okay now? Oh, jeez.
All right, folks. Now, weather played an important role in Jaws, and it does in any movie or television show, creating just the right mood and atmosphere for a scene. Well, weather effects have always been kind of tricky here in Hollywood because most of the time we have sunshine. So filmmakers have to create weather. You have a look at some of the ways they do it. This is Old Mexico. Shot down here in the Showtime series Shameless, as well as comedy classics like Three Amigos and Nacho Libre. Let's start with some rain.
Little sprinklers.
So as you can see, rain is created by an overhead sprinkler hidden from view. We just shoot water straight up in the air and then let it fall naturally like rain. Problem is, when we get too much rain, then it can lead to disaster in the form of flash floods, and something tells me we've got one headed right for us.
There it is. Look at all that.
Whoa! That flood was caused by dumping thousands of gallons of recycled water from large tanks in the hill. This is kind of the halfway point, folks. Just want to remind everybody to remain seated at all times. You guys have been fantastic, but just in case you drop something, or you just can't wait to use the restroom, reach up and pull that red cord, get my attention, I'll come back, we'll sort it out. We're going to re-enter that quiet zone again, folks.
noises. Back to the Future. Bean's Holiday, Harry Potter. Oh, those are so cool. Oh, snap. I just saw the Mr. Bean over there. Harry Potter. There's Transformers.
All right, thank you for your patience, folks. Coming up on your right, probably the most famous set still standing in Hollywood. That's the Bates Motel and the Psycho House from Hitchcock's Psycho. Now, if the house looks a little bit small, it's because it's a 3/4 scale. It was built that way so Norman would look bigger, more menacing when he stood in the doorway. Now, Mrs. Bates is still up in the window, folks, but don't bother waving. She's always in a rocking mood. She is. She's up there. Just beyond the Psycho House, one of the most impressive sets ever created, the spectacular crash site from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, starring Tom Cruise, Dakota Fanning. This is all that's left of the neighborhood they hide out in. That's a real plane, by the way, a real 747, destroyed just for this scene.
All designed around a vision of speech.
Forget it. Now I'm talking about War of the Worlds. I thought, what if the 747 was right next to me? Because it's just...
Robbie, get in. Get in.
Now, production picked this plane up for $60,000, which is a pretty good price for a working 747. The catch was it cost over $200,000 to get it here, and it was less than 80 miles away. And it's always the shipping and handling that gets you.
Shipping and handling, yeah.
Now, we've been very fortunate to work with Oscar-winning directors like Steven Spielberg and Christopher Nolan, who brought Universal its 11th Best Picture Oscar with Oppenheimer, and Jordan Peele, Best Original Screenplay for his movie Get Out. And just up ahead of us is Jupiter's Claim, some of the actual sets used in Jordan Peele's sci-fi thriller Nope. Here's Jordan.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Jupe Park. Over there, look into the Winking Well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Sheriff. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Why? A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso Experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy of old rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the UFO hotspot. What's a bad miracle? Welcome to the world of no.
Well, that's what it sounds like to be absorbed by UFO, folks. And you know, we were going to have you all absorbed by UFO for that effect, but it just seemed like a little much. I mean, you never can tell how long an alien abduction is going to take. Coming up on your right is Falls Lake, in the largest freestanding backdrop in Hollywood. The backdrop was built in 1987 for Jaws: The Revenge. That blue sky and clouds in the background of this shot is the backdrop. They're just painted on. You can see how the horizon doesn't sort of drift off. You know, there's a distinct line in the background because it's not that far away. But since then, it's been used in countless productions. Tom Hanks spent a lot of time out here, and Ron Howard's Apollo 13, Clint Eastwood's Sully. There's a great scene from Sully. Let's get into this one. Falls Lake is a series of pools with different levels of depth that we can fill and drain. So we lower the body of an aircraft, it's an A320, lower the body of an A320 onto a gimbal so it can rock back and forth. Raise the water level up to hide it. The cloudy sky in the background is the backdrop. The New York skyline was actually put in. That big beige building with the green corners is our prop department. Over 2 million items in there, hence the size of the building. It's bigger than a soundstage. Every time we make a movie, the inventory gets a little bit bigger. Beyond that, those beige buildings with the gray roofs, our neighbors Warner Brothers, and beyond that is Disney. Thanks to Carl Laemmle and some others, more movies have been made in this valley than anywhere else in the world. On behalf of our driver, Glenn, myself, and all of us here at Universal, it's been a pleasure showing you all around. To our pass holders, thank you for being with us today. For those of you who are